Hello Moto GP fans. Welcome back to ZNGP Today. The Grand Prix Commission has issued two immediate technical rulings. Wildcard entries in 2026 may not run 2027 spec 850cc machinery, and the tire pressure monitoring system will remain mandatory next season despite the arrival of a new tire supplier. The decisions aim to protect competitive fairness this year while preserving safety and data continuity. Jerez reshaped the championship narrative. Aprilia arrived as the new benchmark while Ducati's momentum faltered. What began as a routine European test turned into a decisive swing. Aprilia's package and rider depth delivered consistency and results, while Ducati faced technical and performance questions that opened the title fight wider. Marquez has once again pushed the boundaries of Moto GP history, now sitting on 103 pole positions, a figure that not only stretches his lead over other all-time greats but also redefines what sustained qualifying dominance looks like in the modern era. This achievement underscores a career built on extracting maximum performance over a single lap, regardless of circumstance, and it continues to set him apart as the sport's ultimate Saturday specialist. Claudio Domenicali framed Ducati's recent shift as part of racing's natural cycle. Dominance gives way to challenge, and the brand must adapt. Speaking from Misano during the launch of the V2 Future Champ Ducati Academy, the CEO balanced pride in Ducati's past achievements with a clear-eyed plan for the future: talent development, technical recalibration, and a refusal to dwell on nostalgia. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Effective immediately, no manufacturer, regardless of concession status, may field wildcard riders on 2027 spec 850cc prototypes during the 2026 season. The ban prevents manufacturers from using wildcard slots to accelerate real-world validation of next year engines and aero on race weekends, keeping 2026 competition focused on current machinery and limiting information leakage ahead of the regulatory reset. This levels the playing field for teams that cannot or choose not to test 850cc hardware in public race conditions. The Grand Prix Commission confirmed the tire pressure monitoring system will continue into next season, overturning informal expectations that it would be dropped with Pirelli's arrival. The system provides real-time safety data and helps stewards and teams monitor tire behavior, keeping it maintains a consistent safety baseline across the grid. The rulings were taken by the Grand Prix Commission, Paul Duparc, FIM, Mike Webb, IRTA, Biens Birma, MSMA, and Carmelo Ezpeleta, MotoGP SEG, with technical and executive input from FIM and MotoGP leadership. Decisions reflect a consensus among sporting, technical and commercial stakeholders and signal a cautious approach to managing the 2026 season amid a major technical transition for 2027. Manufacturers must confine 850cc testing to private programs and official test windows rather than using wildcard race outings. Teams that plan to accelerate 2027 validation via wildcards will need to reallocate resources to private tests. The tire monitoring confirmation means teams must keep associated hardware and data workflows in place. Expect more private test activity and tighter control over prototype exposure. Teams with extensive private test capacity gain an advantage in early 850 cubic centimeters development. The wildcard ban preserves competitive integrity for the remainder of 2026 while the tire system decision prioritizes safety and data continuity. Both rulings buy time for a coordinated rollout of 2027 programs and reduce the risk of uneven public testing that could distort championship dynamics. With the 2027 regulation change looming, regulators are balancing innovation with fairness. The coming months will show how manufacturers adapt their test schedules and whether further clarifications are needed. The Grand Prix Commission's twin decisions tighten control over how 2027 technology is introduced and keep a key safety system in place. Teams will pivot to private testing for 850 cubic centimeters development and maintain tire telemetry workflows, while organizers preserve a level competitive field through the rest of 2026. Expect increased private test activity and possible follow-up clarifications as manufacturers accelerate prototype work ahead of the 2027 season. The Spanish Grand Prix acted as a fulcrum for the championship. Mixed fortunes inside single factories, dramatic crashes, and unexpected zero-score weekends combined to reorder the pecking order. The weekend's results underlined how quickly momentum can shift once the European rounds begin. We've had the first big test of the European season, and everything happened. Early European races often expose development gaps and reliability issues. Jerez amplified those effects and clarified which teams are ready to fight for the long haul. Aprilia's strength at Jerez came from more than one fast bike. It came from multiple riders extracting performance. With Bezzecchi and Martin leading the charge and teammates contributing, the factory showed both pace and depth. Four Aprilias in the top 6 signaled a system that's working across the garage. Aprilia is pulling away with Bezzecchi, pulling away with Martin. When a manufacturer can rely on several scorers rather than a single star, it gains strategic flexibility in both rider and constructors' battles. Marco Bezzecchi's blend of speed and consistency made him the weekend's standout. His confidence and racercraft have translated into regular top results, positioning him as the rider to beat as the season moves into its most demanding phase. Bezzecchi is driving with confidence, with consistency, with that sporting grit needed to win. Marquez's crash and Ducati's mixed weekend exposed vulnerabilities. Marquez, still managing the aftermath of a grueling period, made an error that cost crucial points. Ducati, meanwhile, wrestled with a bike that has yet to match the 2024 benchmark. The result: a factory that must regroup and chase rather than dictate. Marquez crashed due to his own mistake. Today that margin is gone. Beyond the headline riders, Jerez highlighted wider technical debates. Ducati's development path appears to need recalibration, while some traditional manufacturers, notably Yamaha, remain distant from the front. The weekend suggested that technical direction and chassis choices will be decisive as teams refine their 2026 solutions. The 2025-2026 bike has problems. Today Ducati is no longer the dominant force. Jerez has rewritten the early script. Aprilia leads with a balanced attack. Ducati must respond, and Marquez faces the challenge of regaining the extra margin that once defined him. The European swing will magnify small advantages, development gains, rider fitness, and strategic consistency, so the coming rounds will be decisive. If Aprilia sustains its current form, it can convert weekend dominance into a sustained title bid. If Ducati solves its issues quickly, the fight will tighten again. For now, the championship is more open and more intriguing than many expected. Marquez's 103 poles place him in a league of his own, a solitary tier of qualifying excellence that transcends eras. The raw number is staggering, but its deeper meaning lies in the consistency and adaptability it represents. From Honda to Ducati, from the Bridgestone era to Michelin, Marquez has repeatedly recalibrated and still found the edge. What makes the record even more remarkable is the adversity Marquez has endured. Multiple surgeries, long layoffs, and the challenge of switching manufacturers could have dulled his edge. Instead, his qualifying brilliance has remained intact, often shining brightest in seasons where race results were harder to come by. While Marquez towers over the historical list, the current grid is rich with riders who excel on Saturdays. Jorge Martin, with 41 poles, has established himself as the most dangerous qualifier of the new generation. Francesco Bagnaia, 35, and Johan Zarco, 27, also embody the modern trend of riders who can consistently challenge for front-row starts. Pole counts accumulate slowly, and Marquez's head start is immense. For Martin or Bagnaia to approach his tally, they would need years of near-flawless qualifying form, a daunting prospect given the competitiveness of today's field. Beyond the headline contenders, the midfield shows remarkable parity. Alex Marquez and Alex Rins each sit on 17 poles, Marco Bezzecchi has 14, and Raul Fernandez 13. These figures highlight a generation capable of producing flashes of brilliance, even if not yet at the level of the legends. This depth makes qualifying more unpredictable. A single inspired lap can shuffle the grid, raising the tactical complexity of race weekends and magnifying the strategic value of every pole. Poles are not just statistics, they are tactical weapons. Starting from the front row allows a rider to dictate the rhythm of the opening laps, manage tire wear more effectively, and avoid the chaos of mid-pack battles. Marquez's ability to consistently secure pole has often been the foundation of his race day control. In modern Moto GP, where margins are measured in thousandths of a second, the advantage of clean air and track position is decisive. Marquez's qualifying mastery has been a cornerstone of his championship success. Marc Marquez's 103 pole positions are both a milestone and a living statement. His one-lap mastery remains a defining element of his career. The new generation is fast, ambitious, and relentless, but overtaking such a record will require years of sustained Saturday dominance. For now, Marquez not only leads the historical list, he continues to extend it, ensuring that qualifying excellence remains central to his legacy. His record is not just about numbers, it is about the enduring image of a rider who, time and again, finds perfection in a single lap. Ducati's new academy aims to produce complete professionals, not just fast riders. The V2 Future Champ project focuses on physical conditioning, mental preparation, nutrition, and the off-track skills needed to manage a career. We want something similar to what you see in Formula One, training not only in driving skills, but in everything that surrounds a driver. Ducati's extraordinary run, multiple constructors and riders' titles and an 88-race podium streak, has met a natural inflection point. Domenicali framed the change as inevitable rather than catastrophic, stressing that competition cycles evolve and require continuous effort. We wish it would never end, but it's part of the nature of racing. This is pure competition. Marc Marquez's prolonged recovery has been a complicating factor for Ducati's early season. Domenicali acknowledged the injury's seriousness and its impact on performance while emphasizing that it is only one element among several that the factory must address. Marc's injury was more serious than it initially seemed. That has lengthened his recovery process and influenced this period. Nicolo Bilega's World SBK form and technical feedback have positioned him as a valuable asset for Ducati's MotoGP project. Domenicali confirmed plans to involve Bilega in GP27 development and upcoming tests, leveraging his Superbikes experience and Pirelli knowledge. We'd like to find a place for him in MotoGP. He will play an active role in the technical development of our future MotoGP project. Celebrating Ducati's centenary, Domenicali warned against resting on history. His message was forward-facing: preserve the brand's identity but prioritize innovation, talent cultivation, and technical problem-solving. The academy, Bilega's involvement, and a willingness to adapt signal a strategic pivot. Companies with a long history run the risk of dwelling too much on the past. We don't want to succumb to nostalgia. We have to keep looking ahead. Long-lived manufacturers that combine heritage with continuous renewal tend to recover fastest from competitive dips. Ducati is in transition. A dominant chapter has paused and the factory is responding with structural investments and technical recalibration. Domenicali's approach is pragmatic: accept the competitive reset, accelerate rider development, and use targeted testing to close performance gaps. If Ducati can translate academy outputs and Bilega's technical input into meaningful GP gains, the brand should be able to reassert itself. If not, the season may become a longer rebuilding exercise. For now, Ducati's leadership frames the moment as a challenge to be met rather than a crisis to be lamented. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!